Here's the SEC. Some of the country's most heated rivalries. Auburn and Alabama fight for state bragging rights in the Iron Bowl, while Ole Miss and Mississippi State go head-to-head in the Egg Bowl. And there are border wars. Florida, Georgia, the largest outdoor cocktail party in the world. Kentucky and Tennessee in the battle for the beer barrel. For the 90th time, these neighboring states line up for the conference's third longest rivalry. Neyland Stadium will be orange and blue as the Cats and Vols kick it off next. And today, the Volunteers take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Bob Carpenter and Dave Rowe, welcome to the SEC on Prime. A nightmare of a season for the Cats. They beat Louisville to start it off. 9 straight losses since. And Dave, throughout the nightmare, though, there's been one shining light.
Oh, there really has been, Bob. When you're 1-9, everybody points the finger saying, what's wrong with our team? What's wrong with...
Now, he needs to spend a lot of time on the field today because their defense has really struggled. So has Bill Curry. He'd love a strong finish to 94.
Well, it's very important the way you finish any time, but most especially when you've had a real disappointing season. Then you can make a statement in your last game, especially to come to a place like this against a good football team and one that's been coming on lately. It's a tremendous statement about how you want to be remembered. How's the 94 team going to be remembered? That's what we focused on.
Curry's defense has given up 266 yards a game on the ground this year, and it's going to be tough today to stop 2 great Tennessee backs.
Oh, boy, they do have a tandem of great running backs in Stewart and Hayden. They're both well over 5 yards a carry, both seniors, and both great competitors.
And, of course, Aaron Hayden, the man who backs him up, they both get a lot of carries, 262 carries between them, and they're only 2 totes apart for the entire season. A new natural grass surface here at Neyland Stadium. Looks great, doesn't it? And we'll see how the Volunteers and the Cats get it going in a minute. Curry and the Kentucky Wildcats 1-9 on the season. They have not won an SEC game this year. They are 0-7. Volunteers are 5-4. They're 3-3 in the league, and if they win out, they can go 7-4. They play at Vandy next week. Well, what's this beer barrel all about? Let's check in with Bob Kessling.
Bob, this is the beer barrel they've been playing here, Tennessee and Kentucky. Hi there. Since 1925. Basically, the winner of the game gets to take it home. Last time Kentucky took it home was in 1984 here at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee's won the last 9 in the rivalry. Bill Curry told us yesterday it really hasn't been much of a rivalry because Tennessee is dominated. He hopes his team somehow can muster it up today to put some more bite into this rivalry, but the winner gets to take this home, either back to the Commonwealth or stand here at Neyland Stadium.
Where it's been since 1985. 84 is the last time the Wildcats were able to knock off the Volunteers in this series. Bill Curry is in his 5th year at UK and says he will come back. In fact, he has a contract through 1998. It's a gorgeous day for football, a little bit cool and breezy, but it's a brilliant, clear, and sunny November afternoon. Philip Fulmer is in his 3rd year, his 2nd full year at the helm of the Volunteers. After the slow start, they've played well, and Philip told us yesterday they've got a chance to finish the season with a real good feeling based on how they're wrapping things up. He has a great kicker. Kentucky won the toss, and they will receive. Clyde is 27. Keogh is number 6. Kentucky is one of those teams that doesn't win the toss and defers. Their defense has had a lot of problems this year. Out in front of the 10-yard line, it's Clyde Rudolph having trouble with it, so Keogh Sanford ends up with it. He gets some room to the near side, and he will be knifed out of bounds at about the 23-yard line by Jason Parker, the outstanding Tennessee defensive back who's working on special teams after a 10-yard return.
Boy, Bob, you talked about this grass earlier. It is a marvelous field. I haven't seen a better field this year than this one.
Pookie Jones left after his junior year to play baseball. Sophomore Jeff Speedy is the quarterback. We might see Antonio O'Farrell today, and we might see a freshman, Matt Hobby. Daryl Dickey told us. Kentucky runs out of a multiple set. They're most effective in the eye doing just that. And out to about the 27-yard line is Mo Williams, and he was tripped up out there by Scott Gallion, the out of Louisville. Harry Jones is their most versatile offensive lineman. He can play 3 different positions. Second down and 5. Long counts both times. And again, angling off the left side is Mo Williams, and this time there's not much there except Craig King of Tennessee. Volunteers play a 4-3. Ben Talley has moved to a down position, and they've been a lot better since he did that. The man who helped all that happen was Tyrone Hines. Big year, says Larry Marmee, the Tennessee defensive coordinator. Third down and 3 for the Cats. And they will option right with 3 backs behind Speedy. He will be bumped out of bounds by guess who? Jason Parker. We've got 2 great free safeties in this game today who love to play against the run. Parker and Melvin Johnson of Kentucky.
Boy, and Parker is the man. He comes up big. Number 7, he comes in your screen, plays center field. You can see him just get the bounce, stops him just about a yard short of that first down.
Nicky Nichols averaging 40 yards a kick with a long of 58 this year. And Nilo Sylvan, who had a UT record-setting day last week for the return, but he won't get a chance to return this one. A little squibber that goes out of bounds right around the Tennessee 30-yard line. He'll get 38 yards on the kick after all those bounces. And the Volunteers are led by a freshman quarterback. You know his dad, Archie. This is Peyton Manning, the freshman out of New Orleans, sharing some time with Brandon Stewart. He's completing 61% of his passes so far. 104 yards a game in total offense for Manning, who's a big kid at 6'5", 207. And they give a slot look to the backfield, and there's James Little Man Stewart. He's out over the 40. A flag flies as he's out of bounds at the 45-yard line for a gain of 15.
And Bob, one of the things that Kentucky has got to do is they've got to get off their blocks up front, slide to the ball carrier, and make tackles. They may be lucky that they had this yellow flag on this play because it's going to be holding against Tennessee.
Ron Gilbert at the head of Bobby Gaston's SEC officiating crew today.
We may be able to see this on the right of your screen. Bounces in the hole now. Get outside. See how the blockers are just hung up? The tacklers are just hung up. There's the hold call right there on the tail end of that play.
Yeah, it's a shame for Tennessee because he was already outside.
Well, Tennessee's really got to stop the run today. Excuse me, Kentucky's really got to stop the run of Tennessee. They've got to put a lot of people up in the box and force them, almost force them to pass.
4-man front. Manning gives it off to Stewart, and a very good play in the backfield. Howard Carter, the left end, because Bubba hurt his thumb, and he can't snap the football. 5 wide receivers on 2nd and 12, and it's up to the 35-yard line. Kendrick Jones with his 12th reception of the year. He's a guy who doesn't catch the football very much. Kentucky plays a 4-3 defense. They've got a good front.
A run.
Hey, their number 2 guy has 61 tackles. They're down in 5. Another host of receivers, so they go with a draw play. Little man Stewart outside, far sideline. And he's into Kentucky territory at the 45-yard line with a first down. 22 yards on that carry around the right side.
Well, on this situation, you're thinking pass all the way, and it's a draw play up the middle. Kentucky had decided to go with 3 down linemen. A missed tackle there, right there, would have stopped it. That was Stephen Hall who missed the tackle, and down the sideline he goes. You kind of gamble there. You just try to get the pass rush, drop back into coverage. When you have that draw, they get into secondary. They got a lot of room.
Great call by David Cutcliffe, the offensive coordinator of the Vols. Now a straight give to Stewart. He's going to be busy here early, and he can't get around the corner. George Harris came up from strong safety to get him, and that's a junior who played JUCO ball at City College of San Francisco, who's Kentucky giving up 192 a game through the air, but 266 on the ground. Another draw play. Stewart working off the left side. Now he cuts upfield inside the 35-yard line, and that'll be another first down for the Volunteers. Stewart is getting closer and closer to Johnny Jones. Came in number 2 all-time, and Aaron Hayden over 2,000 at 2:08.9. Stewart already well up over 40 yards on his carries today. Kind of tough to break the all-time rushing record when you have to share time like that.
That was an amazing statistic. The 132 rushes coming into the game by Stewart and 130 by Hayden.
But on the ground. And a pretty good play along the line of scrimmage by Robert Stinson, the right tackle.
And Bob, one thing that's really noticeable to me right from the start is that Kentucky, when they're playing their blocks, they get those linemen up front, they're not.
Aaron Hayden is in there. James Stewart gets a breather. Well deserved. Second down and 7, almost 5 minutes into the first quarter. Manning with some play action. Ball was tipped. It was Mike Schlager. 8th play of the drive coming up. It'll be 3rd and 7. Tennessee last year 43% on 3rd down. This year rather. And out of the shotgun. Off to the left side, and it's caught by Joey Kent. Fans aren't happy with where they're going to mark the football. It'll be very close to a first down.
Well, he came back for the football. He was right at the first down marker, and he came back and looked as if he may have come, but with the marking looks as if it may be a little bit short. Watch this, quick pass. All he does is just do a curl at about 7-8 yards right there. Good delivery, boom, right inside. And see where he comes down. He comes down on the other side of that white line. Going to be close.
That was Joey Kent's 33rd catch of the year. Let's see if it got Tennessee a first down.
I think even if it doesn't, I think they'll go for it. Look at Peyton Manning say, don't stretch that chain like that. You're pulling the links too tight.
Couple of inches. Now John Beckspurt, Tennessee's kicker, has some range, but not tremendous range. His longest field goal of the year is 44 yards. If they would kick one right now, he'd have to kick one about 42.
This may be where they go into that Tarzan offense, where they bring that extra offensive lineman in place of the tight end.
They've run that offense 39 snaps their last 4 games. Now, that extra offensive lineman serving as a tight end is not eligible to catch a pass. 4th down and 1. Out of the eye, and Manning will go straight ahead. And he looks like he got the surge he needed.
Manning's a big person, 6'5". I was standing down on the field. It's amazing when you look at him. He's got tremendous strength in his legs. That was really surprising. Usually when you see a 6'5" person that's a quarterback, he's real gangly, but Manning's got some great strength. You can see it in his arms and his upper body. He's got excellent leg strength.
Isidore Newman School in New Orleans. Tony Reginelli, his head coach there, he was playing high school football a year ago. But he didn't have guys like this to give it to. Aaron Hayden averaging 5.2 a carry off the left side. He's coming off a good ball game last week when Tennessee beat Memphis 24-13. And that's a good Memphis team over there, by the way. They're playing East Carolina today for a berth in the Liberty Bowl. Hayden had 129 yards against the Tigers. 11th play of the drive coming up. Most of it's been on the ground. Hayden again, hurdling one tackler, and the ball is on the ground. Was it called dead?
That's the whole key on this play, was the ball down. The ground cannot cause the fumble. I saw one official point to the ground indicating that he was down.
9 running plays, 3 passes on this drive. Manning angling left side, inside the 10, and fortunate to fumble the ball out of bounds is Nilo Sylvan. That's only his 5th catch of the year.
Boy, one thing that Manning does so well is get the ball quick to the receiver. That's an out pattern where you usually run out of bounds, but you see he's got plenty of room to turn upfield. There's where the ball's ripped out, but again, it just bounces out of bounds harmlessly.
11-yard play. 1st and goal for the Vols at the 4. Nearly half of the first quarter is gone. Stewart bounces off several tackles. And finally, 3 cats will keep him out of the end zone. But he will get down to just beyond the 2-yard line. 25 is Melvin Johnson. No surprise there playing against the run.
Absolutely. You can see the initial hit there. Just keep those feet going. Chad Hudson in there. Boom, just big blocks in there. Just keep those feet kind of grinding and just keep on churning. And Melvin Johnson up on the tackle.
Hey, forget that red zone. It's all orange around here, folks. 18 touchdowns and 7 field goals. They're 25 of 38. Second and goal from the 2. And it's Hayden across the goal line and in for Tennessee. And for Aaron Hayden, his first rushing touchdown of the season. What a drive by the Volunteers.
Boy, a great drive, used a lot of time. Just a big block up front. Watch Mose Phillips go in there. Number 19, he clears the way. And it's just go into the end zone. That's big power, big man on big man. You'll see the lead block there. Find somebody to hit. Bam, there's the person to hit. He picks up number 50, Hudson.
Becksford with another one of those extra points. He never misses. That's 146 straight. He's 11 away from Carlos Huerta, who holds the all-time record. But a 6.5-minute drive capped by Aaron Hayden going in. The Apparel SEC Game of the Week takes us to Nashville, the Battle of Tennessee, the Vols, and the Commodore Listings. 7-0 Volunteers. Better than half of the first quarter gone. Tennessee has dominated things. Kentucky's only run 3 plays before kicking. Keough Sanford on a short kick at his 16. He's got some room in the middle. Now he gets outside, and he turns the corner at midfield, and he's bumped out of bounds by Jason Parker from Bryan Station High School in Lexington, and it's all called back. Out of a 3-back eye, option left, Speedy looking to pass. It's a coverage sack. Nobody was open down the field, and then Shane Burton collapsed on it. It'll be second and long coming up, and let's check in with Knoxville's own Bob Kessley.
You know, Bob, the Tennessee offensive line wanted to set a note and a message to set a tempo for this game. They did that on the opening drive. This is a proud group. In fact, it's interesting. Philip Fulmer, of course, is a former offensive lineman himself, so he makes sure that all the offensive linemen can play any position across the board. Jason Lehman, Bubba Miller, and Jeff Smith have all been his starting center, guard, or sometimes tackle in this group.
A 2-back eye look now. On second and 11, Speedy looking to that left sideline. Nobody open, and they've got him again, but he manages to throw it away before he goes down.
Well, you've got to have faster patterns.
Steve White on him, Ben Talley on him. Those guys have 11 sacks between them this year.
See, plays are designed to go down in about 2.5 seconds. That's how long you think your offensive line can protect you. And what happened to Speedy is he's getting out there, and his runners are still in the patterns. They haven't broken around looking back for the football, and he's just got to pull it down and swallow it or take it off and run with it.
They're down in 18, so they had whistled him down before he threw that ball away. A loss of 7 on the play. Now he will keep it on the ground. Mo Williams working off a blocker. Pretty good job by Scott Gallion, who had a blocker tied up and then managed to get a paw out and knock that Wildcat off of his feet. And Kentucky will have to kick it again.
Well, third down has been a horrible down for Kentucky this year. Only converting less than 30% of their third downs. Can't play win. It's awfully hard to play winning football that way.
Came in at 29%, 0 for 2 today. And the Volunteers will have good field position. Nilo Sylvan stands at his own 43. Not very well hit by Nichols that time either. At the 48, there he goes! Far side! One man can stop him! And he's caught from behind! Nilo Sylvan had a 57-yarder last week against Memphis. He went 136 in the game for a UT record. Donnell Gordon got him from behind. He almost broke another long one. 34 yards that time.
Well, watch what he does when he catches the football. Fakes that little break and right up through the line. That's what you want to do. You break that seam, and now it's off to the races. But there was 2 things wrong with that punt. It wasn't long, and it wasn't high.
Other than that, it was okay, huh? Coverage had no time to get Nilo Sylvan. First down at the 16. Hayden weaving his way for 3 or 4. Dante Key, the first man there. And then the ball carrier was downed by Robert Stinson.
Boy, and Bob, you put such a tremendous pressure on your defense when your offense is in 3 out, and you give a ball to Tennessee with this good offensive line, great backs, running, power. That really takes a starch out of your defense.
Clock runs with 4:10 remaining. First quarter. Volunteers knocking on the door of that checkered end zone again. Second down and 6. Manning to Hayden. Looking to turn the corner. There's a flag out there. That's in the area where tight end David Horn was out there blocking. Here, an honorable mention All-American, Willie Cannon, who played the left corner, Don Robinson, who played the right side. And their replacements have been busy. And that might have been a touchdown had the receiver not slipped on the play. That was Marcus Nash, the true freshman.
It almost looked as if Nash was trying to stop. Good play action fake here, strong side play. Now come out weak. Watch this delivery by Manning. Squares up those shoulders. He's got all the mechanics. And you'll see Nash's feet slide out from underneath him there, just the tail end of the play, but he was wide open.
We had the groundskeeper yesterday tell us he hasn't seen a Volunteer slip on this turf yet this year. It finally happened on the 19th of November. 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 16. Manning, look at that time. Out to the right side. And the ball is thrown out there for number 3, Ronnie Pillow.
Field goal try. That's what they need to build on. The positive things that their defense is doing. Now they need to get the offense moving the football.
Becksford, 8 for 15 this year. He's only 3 of 6 between 30 and 39 yards, and I'm not sure he got that one. It is wide right. It's a gorgeous day in Knoxville. Don't you love the SEC in November?
Oh, you told me it's going to be cold.
Antonio O'Farrell is the quarterback for Kentucky. And he will give it on first down to Donnell Gordon. This is when they get their second crew in there a bit. Jason Parker on the tackle. Antonio O'Farrell's a 5'10", 180 junior out of New York. He's an option quarterback who's very good, and they like the way he sparks things when he comes in off the bench. He'll go to the shotgun here. He started 4 games this year. They've been against tough competition. Florida, Auburn, South Carolina, and Indiana. On second down and 9. And a little inside give to Gordon. He fights off one tackler, and he's got a first down. Had some turnovers in that game. His first 2 games, he had 18 tackles and 3 sacks. He's been a defensive end ever since. First down at the 33. And a problem with the snap. And the ball is recovered, it looks like, by Tennessee. Jonathan Brown was the first man there, clawing away at it. I'm not sure he ended up with it, but they love this guy out of Tulsa. He's a true freshman, and they say that someday he will be the man who will replace Ben Talley.
Well, anytime you have a missed snap right here, the quarterback's got to get down on the ball. The problem was that Woodfork ran into him. He couldn't get down on the football. He got knocked out of the way, and you see the recovery there, giving Tennessee, again, great field position.
On the year, 22nd fumble by Kentucky, and the 15th time they've lost one. First down at the 30. Brandon Stewart, the backup quarterback for Tennessee, gave it off to Jay Graham that time, and Stewart's another outstanding freshman. He was a high school All-American and the Southwest Player of the Year out of Stephenville, Texas, in the Dallas area last year. And one of the big questions around Knoxville, will both of these young quarterbacks still be on this team next year?
Well, that's a tough call, because obviously Peyton Manning's got the nod to start, but Brandon Stewart is such a tremendous talent. They fumble the ball
On the snap.
It's pulling out quick on the center, and that exchange fumble is so common whenever you change a quarterback, because the center gets used to snapping the ball in a certain place where that hand is supposed to be, and it's not.
Stewart, 24 of 43 throwing this year. He faces a 3rd and 12. And he will give it off to Graham. And he'll get down inside the 25. They had to get to the 20-yard line for a first down. Dante Key on the tackle. And with John Becksford's failure of a moment ago, will they give him another chance? It appears they will.
Well, now he knows how to play that wind. He threw up a little piece of
now this year. This will be about a 39-yarder. And the first quarter comes to a close, so he'll have to kick it when we come back. Tennessee 7, Kentucky nothing. We're back after this message from CarQuest Auto Parts. Telecast brought to you in part by Hardee's, your tailgating headquarters and a proud sponsor of the SEC. Volunteers lead at 7-0 as we go to the second quarter of play. And Bob Kessling, another look in a moment at the kicker of the Vols, John Bexford.
You know, John has been in kind of a slump. He was an All-American kicker last year, just missed one field goal, and then suddenly this year kind of lost his confidence. Not that he wasn't hitting the ball strongly and firmly. He was just a little bit off angle. He picked up golf 2 years ago, and now he's got about a 6 handicap, so he's a natural athlete. John says it's kind of like putting. When you lose your confidence, you just got to keep booting it and hope it goes straight.
I think golf has messed a lot of people up.
Well, I don't have a 6 handicap. I can probably, that's messed me up.
This will be a 39-yarder. And this one looks absolutely straight. He hit it well. And 6 seconds into the second quarter, Tennessee leads 10-0. So Kentucky will get the football back in a moment. They haven't done much offensively. Bexford with a nice stroke. 10 zip fouls. Volunteers on the Bexford field goal 6 seconds into the second quarter. Sanford and Rudolph, the deep men for Kentucky. There's a breeze blowing. They're only at their 10. Tennessee's been kicking the ball short against these two. This one very short. Up and about the 16 for Keough Sanford. He thought he saw something up the middle. It closed on him in a hurry, and the Cats will start at their own 29-yard line after a Nick Jester special teams tackle. I'll look at our Lee Apparel first quarter statistics. Total yardage is the way of the Volunteers, and to go along with what you can see in that first quarter, Kentucky ran only 9 plays. Tennessee ran 22.
And you see no passing yardage. They have got to pass the football. Not long, but they've got to pass it. If they don't, they'll have 8, 9 men up in that box, and they won't be able to run the football either.
Well, Williams hasn't carried the ball since the first possession. He's waiting for a pitch here. It never comes. And on the corner, number 7. Just dial that when you're in doubt on Tennessee's defense. That's Jason Parker, and he already has 4 tackles today.
Well, 2 things about that play are tough. When a quarterback reverses out, the running backs are supposed to get out in front of him. But really, he reversed out, and he was right along with the running backs and just ran along the line and ran out of room and lost about 2-3 yards on the play.
2nd and 13. Tight end lined up on the left side. Whoops. Adam Kane.
Farrell doesn't try to pressure the ball into some type of a coverage and throw up a mistake. Needs to pick up 7-8 yards, get that 3rd down situation, and maybe 4 or 5.
O'Farrell out of the gun, and there's Mo Williams carrying the ball. Cracked up between a couple of Volunteers, and he was cracked right down by Scott Gallion for Tyrone Hines, who's really going to be something in that middle for the next couple of years. On 3rd and 10, option right, end around fake. O'Farrell's in trouble. And right there to meet him is the man who backs up Hines, Craig King. We weren't told that Tyrone Hines has an injury, but King has had most of the playing time at middle linebacker so far.
Oh, if he had handed the ball off to Sanford on this fake reverse, watch Sanford come into your picture here. If he hands it off there, you see there was nobody near Sanford. Everybody was going with the play action and went along with the end around, but oh boy, that reverse, he'd still been running.
Nicky Nichols needs to hit a good one here. And he squibs it off to the right side, and it'll bounce straight up. And Tennessee will have the football around their own 49-yard line. Nothing going right for the Cats so far. A 27-yard kick, playing a tight one. A lot of those natural rivals getting together this weekend. And some good running room off the right side for James Stewart. By the way, for the latest scores of just the game you'd like, Peyton Manning back in there at quarterback for the Volunteers. The National Player of the Year in high school football last year. Out of the eye on 2nd and 6, and he gives to the fullback, Mose Phillips, breaks a tackle. First down, and he's inside the 35 of Kentucky. Every time I see Mose, we think about that play at South Carolina when he had one of the great runs in Tennessee history. Too bad they lost the game.
Yeah, just get outside. They call them broken tackles, but on defense you call them missed tackles, and you can't win when you miss tackles.
Mose Phillips has never rushed for negative yardage this year. He's run for about 135 yards after that carry previously. And the Volunteers continue to move the football with James Stewart. Little man at 6'1", 218, not very little, has been very busy.
Great story how he got the name Little Man, though, isn't it?
Yeah, just his father, when he was a youngin', called him Little Man. He turned out to be a pretty big man. Averaging almost 6 yards a carry today, so you tack on 53, and he's at 2,679 yards for his career. He's got the deep pitch, looking to cut it upfield, and the Volunteers will move it again to first down territory. Robert Stinson had a shot at him at the line of scrimmage.
And again, missed tackles are killing Kentucky. You've got to make those tackles up front. You've got to shed those blocks, get to the tackles. You can't come underneath blocks. That'll get you in big-time trouble when you try to come around the backside of a block because you're not standing in front of a ball player, and then all you're doing is just trying to grab his jersey as he runs by.
Volunteers making it look rather routine at the moment. And Stewart feeling his way through. He was eventually bumped down. Chad Hudson on an initial hit, and then Mike Schlegel put a shoulder pad to him to knock him down.
You know, Bob Kessling talked about that offensive line of Tennessee and the great pride they have. They're all good. Boy, you get up front there when you can make a switch from center to tackle to guard and move around on that front line. You've got great versatility. And this is an offensive lineman's time. When you're controlling the line of scrimmage, you're blowing them off the line. Your backs are picking up big yardage every play. That's a lineman's dream.
2nd down and 4. And a give off the left side. Stewart again. First down, Tennessee. And he's down near the 12, maybe the 11-yard line of the Wildcats. Kurt Suppi from right end on the tackle. And Tennessee's about to make it 17-0 the way they're moving the football here.
Boy, Bob, and this is where those offensive linemen come out there and they kind of point at the defense and say, hey, we're coming right here. See if you can stop us.
An ugly first down stat. Only 5 minutes into the second quarter from the Kentucky standpoint. And some play action. Manning, left sideline, throws it a little bit too tall.
Oh, there should have been a flag on that play.
Well, there is one. Stephen Hall coming in a little bit late.
You can't do that.
Mose Phillips, the intended receiver.
No, you can't do that. That ball was way overthrown, and the defender came in and just took a shot at him. Again, watch the ball. It's going to be to the left of your screen. It's going to be overthrown. A lot of velocity on the pass here. Now watch. The ball's overthrown. Now the play's over, right? You can't do that right there.
Not with an official 2 yards away.
That's a frustration hit. That's what you call that. When things aren't going right for you, you try to do something a little bit extra, and you make a mistake like that. But that's a costly mistake.
Half the distance, 1st and goal at the 6. Volunteers out of the eye with Phillips and Stewart behind Peyton Manning, and there's Little Man. And he was wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Roger Sullivan did a nice job of coming from the left side to grab him, and then Bill Verdonk, playing on the right side, was able to finish the play off. There's number 93, Bill Verdonk, just a redshirt freshman out of Lake Forest, Illinois, up in the Chicago area. And there's Hobby. That's their redshirt freshman quarterback, Matt Hobby, out of Sarasota. Gerald Dickey told us he would see some time today. Hey, it's time for the Cats to find a few things out. I mean, they're 1 and 9. 2nd down and goal from the 5. Manning. To the left side, it was almost picked off by Keo Wilson.
Oh, I thought Wilson had this ball. He came right up inside the defender, the receiver pillow, and it looks as if he could have taken it 90 yards or more. Watch this quick out pattern. Watch him right in the picture. Gets that hand inside.
One step earlier, and he would have been history for about 94 yards.
Boy, this is where Manning is so... He's got such talent. He's got that great height at 6'5". He can look downfield. Nobody gets in his way. He can find those wide receivers, and he's got a bunch of them.
5 of them. On 3rd and goal from just outside the 5. Manning got some room to run, and he's got some room to throw. A touchdown, and it's Billy Williams on the receiving end. And it's nice to see Billy get one. He's a great senior out of Alcoa right down the road. He's been hurt all year long. He told Coach Fulmer, I want the ball 8 times Saturday. He just got it for the first time.
That's right. Good pressure here, but they lose a pocket containment. Now that puts so much pressure on your defensive backs because you've got a quarterback that can either run in or pass in. Credit Manning, he just kind of pulled up short. Bang. First touchdown this year.
Here comes Bexford, and he's got another one. 2 in a row today, 147 straight. He might catch Carlos Huerta the way this ball game's going. 9:33 before halftime. Billy Williams on the receiving end, and it's 17-0 Tennessee. 17-0 Tennessee, 9.5 before halftime. Bob Carpenter, Dave Rowe, and Bob Kessling from a rather relaxed Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. 6 on hand today. Look at that ball bombed out of there.
I think the wind stopped where that ball was kicked.
Tom Hutton, the punter, took a swipe at it, and he hit a rocket right out of here. A 3-minute, 44-second scoring drive for the Volunteers, 51 yards in 10 plays. And Billy Williams capping it off. Now we've got to see if Kentucky can do something offensively. They've never had more than 3 plays in a drive today. They do have a first down, but that was negated by a fumble. And here's their third-string quarterback, Matt Hobby, 5'11", 180 redshirt freshman from Sarasota. On the first play, he will give it off to his back, and that is Donnell Gordon. Donnell seemed to be off balance from the moment he received the football on the average every time. First down at the 33. Cats have their second move of the change today, and this time it goes into the belly of the fullback, Michael Woodfork.
He is a walk-on kicker. Now they put him at wide receiver, and he's going to play in his first college action when Kentucky is on their punt receiving team.
What a great story. An inspirational young man. Bill Curry thinks the world of him. It's amazing that he even has a football uniform on at the moment.
Yeah, they said he speaks all around the country. He gets opportunities to speak. Talks about you know, against drunk drivers and things like that. He's just a marvelous person.
Second down and 6. Gallions looking like he wants to blitz from that bottom side. And there he comes. It's cut off as Hobby has a chance to throw it, and the ball was almost picked off by Jesse Sanders. Jesse's the left inside linebacker. He doesn't always get a lot of notoriety because of Scott Gallion and Tyrone Hines and Craig King in there. Sean Summers, 23, was also there to help out.
And Bob, right now, as we look at Hobby, you're looking for a spark. That's what Bill Curry's saying. We need a spark in there on offense. Tried his first quarterback, things didn't work out. They only ran 9 plays up until this drive.
Bill Dickey describes Hobby as having a cannon for a left arm, and he runs a 4.5 40. This time he gives it off to Gordon, and the Volunteers say, you can forget it. 5 of them there. That play was very slow in developing. Shane Burton was there, Jesse Sanders again, and Kentucky will have to kick it again.
Well, slow in developing. It's a front handoff draw, and you can see the back looking for a hole. There is no hole up front. He tries to get outside again for no yardage, but third down and about 5. You've got to throw that football up. You've got to take a chance.
Nothing to lose.
That's exactly right.
Nicky Nichols not having a very good day. Now Sean Summers is back. You better get it away in a hurry. He does, and it ends up spiraling low to the 15. Summers cracks it up for about 8 yards. Tripped up on the play. It looked like Keo Wilson with some help from Mike Schellenberger. 38 yards on the kick and 8 on the return. 7-17 first half. From Knoxville, it's all Vols. Back at the helm of the Volunteers as we get set for another Tennessee possession. 7-17 to go first half. And Tennessee, they've been pass heavy lately, but today they've been keeping it on the ground against this Kentucky defense that has spent way too much time on the field this year. Aaron Hayden tackled by Bill Verdonk, number 93. Coming into this game on first down the last 4 games, Tennessee had thrown the ball 71% of the time. We were talking with David Cutcliffe yesterday. He had a big, thick computer printout. He says, this answers all the folks who says we're predictable. We just paged through this to say, no, we ran this, we ran this. They had thrown the ball 7 of 10 times on first down the last 4 games. Not today. Not when you get 9 yards on first down running. Aaron Hayden again. David Ginn, the tackle, a redshirt freshman who backs up Dante Key, and there's a flag.
That flag's thrown along the line of scrimmage.
And a hold will move the football back a little bit. There's only one senior on that Tennessee offensive front.
Of the year, many people around here think he's up for all-star considerations. Right now, trying to catch his breath, kind of a groin injury on the last possession, so Mays is out of the game. And also interesting about Melvin Johnson, the outstanding free safety of Kentucky. They put a green jersey on him this week in practice. They say he's the key player of the defense. They didn't want anybody hitting him. They lost Damon Hood in practice, and so they said, don't hit Melvin, let him hit you.
He hits a lot of ball carriers. And it takes a while for anybody to hit Aaron Hayden. Taken down by Melvin Johnson after a big gain all the way out to the 38-yard line of Tennessee.
Well, the secret to defense is to make him change directions. And you can see he doesn't very much change direction. He's running full speed in the backfield. He doesn't even have to look for a hole. The hole just opens. Again, the problems with Kentucky is getting off those blocks. When they hit in, they lock up with those offensive linemen. You got to get rid of them.
4,500 yards between them. That's a couple of miles. And there goes Hayden again. Another first down into Kentucky territory. You know, the amazing thing about these guys, they both came in several years ago. They both wanted to carry the football. And then a guy named Charlie Garner showed up out of junior college. And Stewart with Hayden had to take backstage passes for a year or two. Now they're the guys again and doing very well. And Philip Fulmer's got a very special place in his heart for Hayden. He recruited Aaron when he was an assistant here. Aaron's had some tough times, but he's stuck with it. He's having a great senior year. And that one completed out on the near side. Who's going to make a tackle? It's Nilo Sylvan.
And Hiles had to recover on the play. He got a great hit, but you've got to wrap him up.
Total defense.
I talked with him before the game a little bit. He's got a real good attitude about it. He said, you let us get 1 year of maturity and you watch how we're going to play. We're going to play a lot stronger.
Second down and 10. A little look-in pattern. Problem was when Joey Kent looked, the ball had booked. It was way behind him. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast a copyright presentation. And did you have to sack him that day?
I sacked him about 70 times. He said, I didn't know what they wanted, but he said, I know I could have missed you one time.
Hey, there's Dante Key again. His second pass deflection of the day and his 7th of the year. That one hung up for a while, and the Cats just couldn't reach it. That would have been an easy 6 if Kurt Soupy or one of his teammates would have been able to get there. I can't think of anything worse than being sacked 70 times in one day.
It was amazing. He had to stand back there with the ball and act like a quarterback. And I would just run down his throat, and they said, you know what Dave Rowe does for fun? He collects stamps.
He collects quarterbacks.
Yeah. Mike Archer said, boy, I couldn't believe it. They said $300 for that commercial. That was like $1 million.
Well, that's a coverage man that'll get flagged. He didn't give much room at all for Keo Sanford to catch that ball. Eric Lane was just about mouthpiece to mouthpiece with it. 35 yards on a high-hanging kick by Tom Hutton.
Just good concentration looking that ball all the way in when you
shirt freshman with another series, and let's see if they put the ball in the air at all.
I want to see his arm. If he has a rocket out there, let's see that thing take off.
Hand off, second man through, and a big hole up over the 30-yard line. Hobby to the fullback, Woodfork. It was plugged up in a hurry.
See, I think
White was right there.
I think, Bob, you've got to pass on first down.
Second down and 10. 2 backs in the eye as they look strong side right. They will run that way, and they'll give it this time on the reverse. Can get possession. Keough Sanford finally did. Well, they must have been thinking along your lines, Dave. They knew last time that play was wide open for Keough, so this time they gave it to him.
Yeah, but when you run it the first time, you catch the defense off guard. When you run it the second time, and watch this, he doesn't hand it off. He throws it out there, bounces it off his chest. He dribbles it 2 or 3 times here. Amazing the way the ball bounced back up to him. That could have been another disastrous play.
I'll tell you what, Rick Pitino would have been impressed with that dribbling. They're down in 20 as they went way backwards that time.
Boy, and this is tough for a young quarterback because a lot of times you have the tendency to try to force it into coverage.
4 wide receivers. And Hobby with a 2-step drop. He's got great speed. He ran into a blocker. And now he'll be down out of bounds around the 22-yard line. He ran right into Aaron Purdy, who was pass blocking. It looked like, Dave, to me, the young quarterback panicked a bit and made a quick decision to run.
Absolutely. I don't think he was going to pass this at all. See how quickly he starts to run? Now looks for the hole to go open. He had no idea to pass this football.
Tennessee calls a timeout to stop the clock with 2:16 remaining. We're about to get the football back with a 4th and 19 coming up.
And with that last snap on that last punt that they saw Kentucky have, I'm sure they're going to say to themselves, hey, we can maybe block one. So they'll really be coming after him.
Now, this is a Kentucky team that as recently as last year went to a bowl game. They lost to Clemson 14-13 in the Peach, ended up 6-6. That SEC wins at South Carolina, against Ole Miss at home, at Mississippi State, against LSU, also beat Kent and East Carolina. So Kentucky gets set to kick it again, and Tennessee will have great field position. Sean Summers is back there.
You got 10 men up on the line. They're coming after it.
Mickey Nichols with some pressure here. Good snap. Got it away, and that's a good-looking punt. Back to the 25-yard line. Who's going to cover it? Summers on the near side, and he'll be cracked out of bounds. At the midfield stripe, 53 on the kick, 24 of it right back on the return. Let's check in with Bob Kessling downstairs.
One of the key members of the Wildcats on crutches. In December. David, listen, sorry about the injury. Congratulations on a great career, and hope you play somewhere next year.
I hope, thank you.
On the end around, it's Nilo Sylvan on the carry. By the way, a footnote on Damon Hood, a former Mr. Football out of Warren Central High School in Bowling Green. He will finish number 20 on the all-time Kentucky chart with 1,144 yards. Very articulate young man. Thanks to him for the visit. Peyton Manning's the quarterback, and they just went for 8 yards on first down. And here they go for a first down with James Stewart to the near side. He continues to inch closer and closer to Johnny Jones on that all-time list. Coming in, he needed 227 yards to catch the #1 all-time ball rusher.
Oh, when he turns up, you see he gets hit, but he just keeps on kind of grinding in there, falls forward. It's one of those backs you just never bend over backwards and get him for a loss.
Manning looking to pass, just got it away. Mose Phillips has the screen. He's got some room in front of him, and he's out of bounds at the 12. Melvin Johnson on the tackle. A 23-yard call and a nice play by the Volunteers.
Well, Manning has to hold this ball for the longest time. He's getting pressure, but this is what makes a screen go. It's when the quarterback draws the defense, and you see Manning go down here. He held the ball to the last second. Now, you got those big offensive linemen out in front of you. Look how far downfield they are. And Phillips just turns it up and gets that first down inside the 15.
First down at the 12, a minute 13 before halftime. Mose Phillips in a slot. Stewart behind the quarterback. He'll block. And a quick pattern, but never getting out there was Billy Williams.
Well, that's the only angle that Manning has where the sun is in his face, and obviously that is a miscommunication on a pattern.
The same. How do women
pattern, and the receiver turned inside.
Leslie Ratliff, Bubba Miller, Jeff Smith, Kevin Mays, Jason Lehman, that outstanding front for the Vols. getting ready for some more trench action on 2nd and 10. 1:09 to go. Manning looking left all the way, and he rifles it to James Stewart. I think James wanted to get out of bounds, but he never could keep his feet after catching the ball. And the clock runs under a minute. Unless they call a timeout with exactly 60 seconds to go. And that's what they'll do.
And Bob, you know, you talked about how he had that computer printout of all the plays they've run. Teams most times scout themselves as much as they do an opponent. They want to make sure that they don't have any tendencies on 1st and 2nd down. They come out 1st down and 2nd down, say 7 to 10 yards. They want to make sure that they mix the football up, and that's what Tennessee has done very well.
I thought the reason they did that was for all those callers on the radio shows who always call up and say, "Coach, you're predictable."
Yeah, right.
3rd down and 8 coming up, and let's check in once more with Bob.
This is in the entire country, and of course now also at the end of this game they'll be starting a new addition to the north end zone here at Neyland Stadium, so they're sprucing things up, and this really is a show place in college football right now.
Yeah, those orange seats on top will bring the capacity here to 100,000. You know, I heard a rumor that they were thinking about bringing some turf in from Georgia, and cooler heads prevailed. They said there's no way Georgia grass is going to be on a Tennessee field.
Well, it probably wouldn't grow.
So they had it right here from the state of Tennessee. 3rd down. They have to get down to the 2 for a 1st down. Manning in trouble. Escapes. Looking right side. He can run it. He can score. Peyton Manning with his first running touchdown of the year. His longest run of the year. The previous long he'd gone was 3. And he takes it in for the score.
Well, that's what happens when you lose containment on a quarterback. He's not known as a runner. Boy, hard to believe he was playing high school football last year.
Exford. You know, that's close to a miss for him. Anytime it's not right down the middle. And John's got another one. Manning getting the ball down the field in a hurry. Good 2-minute drill. It took him 1:12 to get it down and score.
Now watch the pressure come up the middle and to his left. Now brings the ball down. Nobody on the right side. No pressure on the right side. No one's going to catch him out there. You're not going to run one of those big defensive linemen. You're not going to run him down. Again, Manning sitting there, pressure in his face, but they lose containment on the right side. He scrambles out. Nobody comes up to turn him back in, and he just takes it all the way into the end zone.
50 seconds to go, and it's 24-0.
And Bob, you know, as I look at him, of course, you know his dad, Archie Manning, the great quarterback with the Saints for all those years. But he's a different type of quarterback. This kid is 6'5". Archie was more of a scrambler, running all over, the red hair flowing in the breeze. But this kid's got great mechanics.
On 6 plays, and then the kick into the end zone, and Keo Sanford will come out with it. He's got some room on the near side. Over the 35, makes his cut upfield, and he's out of bounds into the Kentucky bench at the 46. 4 wide receivers. Jeff Speedy is back in. They want his experience to see if they can score here. He will drop and wait and throw. Somebody got his arm or tipped the ball, but that thing was diving into the turf. Axar. One in the slot, one with the quarterback, and 4 wide receivers on 2nd and 10. And on the near side, Leon Smith with the catch. Leon's a great story. This week, the CFA named him to their All Good Works team. He's a guy very active in the community in Lexington, especially with the youth. There's 11 of those players in the nation. Leon's on the team. And how about a guy who's a wide receiver who's the deep snapper on punts when he's healthy? He's just coming off a sprained knee. Great story.
I think that's...
Speedy with a drop. Steps up. He's got room. pursued by Ben Talley.
They need another timeout quick, stop the clock.
And it'll come with 16 seconds to go. But a big task ahead. And you know, this is a 4th and 2.
They have to think first down first. They've got to make the first down.
Speedy with a short toss. Scott Gallion is there to intercept it. And that is the first of his career. He likes it at that old right linebacker position.
Boy, Gallion made an excellent play on this. He knew they were going to come just trying to make the first down. He planted, and as Speedy delivered the ball in there, he just planted, came right back, reacted right in front of the receiver, and took the ball away from Sanford.
11 seconds to go. And look out here.
Manning certainly has the arm to throw it a long way.
All the receivers can't exactly decide where they're lining up, but they are in the pattern somewhere. Manning waiting, 2 flags on the play. Look at that arm strength. Look at that move. Joey Kent down to the 26. 2 seconds on the clock, but there are flags.
Now the question is it against the offense or defense? If it's a defensive penalty, the play will stand, and they'll try a field goal. But I think if it is, it's illegal procedure against Tennessee. It's going to negate that long completion.
But Dave, did you see that throw from Peyton Manning?
Yeah, let's take another look at it. Right over the middle. Watch Manning, not under any pressure. Sees the crossing pattern right there and delivers a rope.
Illegal position on the offense. 6 men around the scrimmage. Clock on the sideline, ready for play.
Well, you talked about the confusion, and that's what happened. They didn't have 7 men up on the front line of scrimmage.
One more play. Well, now they let the clock go ahead and run out. First half is over. In the first half, Tennessee runs 49 plays. Kentucky runs 26. They only get a couple of first downs. They have a couple of turnovers. And last year when these two got together, it was 48-0. Tennessee beating Kentucky. 24-0 here. Let's check in with Bob.
Coach, give us your thoughts on the first half.
Well, I'm pleased with the lead, obviously, and I think we've run the football very, very well. We're stopping ourselves too much, and that's discouraging.
But your offensive line came out, set the tone on that first possession.
Tempo up front early. We hope to do that, and we're able to do that. Our running backs and line have played extremely well.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck second half. Philip Fulmer going to the locker room with a 24-0 lead over the Kentucky Wildcats. Back with halftime activities from Neyland Stadium in just a moment. Now the pride of the Southland Band from Tennessee coming on in just a moment. Tennessee, in its final home game of the season, leading the Kentucky Wildcats by a score of 24-0. It was interesting. Tennessee, of course, on the last play of the first half, got the procedure penalty, wiping out that long gain. Coach Philip Fulmer on the way to the locker room was trying to figure out who did what incorrectly, and so that just shows, even with a 24-0 lead, Coach Philip Fulmer striving for perfection with this Tennessee football team. Speaking of perfection, a guy almost near perfection, the quarterback of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Jay Barker, our SEC Player of the Week, and a big game today for him against the Auburn Tigers. Going today, they take on Auburn in the Iron Bowl later today in Birmingham, Alabama. Each week, Hardee's will be honoring an SEC student athlete who gives back to the community. This week's Hardee's Rise and Shine, Kentucky at halftime, and the battle for the beer barrel. Back with more from Neyland Stadium at halftime in just a moment. University of Tennessee's Neyland Stadium, 24-0. Tennessee leads at halftime. A special ceremony going on out at midfield. That's John Ward, the longtime voice of the Tennessee Volunteers since 1968. He is also chairing the University of Tennessee's major fund campaigning, Century 21 for the Future. And today, John Ward announced he's making the largest ever contribution in the history of the University of Tennessee's athletics department. Doug Dickey, the athletic director there, and the crowd giving John Ward, the voice of the Vols, a standing ovation for his contributions, not only financially today, but since 1968 to the University of Tennessee. Now it's time for the Jefferson Pilot Scoreboard, brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams. South Carolina trying to go to a bowl game, so that's a look at the scores from around the country. Here, Tennessee leads at halftime 24-0. Let's go back upstairs now to Bob and Dave.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. And back upstairs, I guess the picture looks a lot like it does downstairs. Total domination by the Volunteers, in Kentucky really just unable to move the ball at all.
Well, if you can't pass the football with any effectiveness, you're not going to move the football well. And they have not been able to mix up. Their play selection has just been terrible. They've run the ball 24 times. I think they passed 2 or 3 on that last drive. So they have not been able to pass the football. Tennessee has creeped up on them into the box, and they're now shutting down the run.
Well, that's a good way to put it. The offensive line took over early. They ran the football very well indeed. And at the 7:03 mark, Aaron Hayden went in from 2 yards to make it 7-0. After a missed field goal, John Bexford hit one from 39 on the first play of the second quarter, and it was 10-0 Volunteers. And then it was nice to see Billy Williams get a touchdown reception.
On this little dash outside, Manning finds him inside and gets Billy Williams, who's been hurt all year.
And then Peyton Manning, known for his passing, sees some opening to the right, and with 50 seconds remaining in the half, he goes in from 10 yards out, and the Vols lead at 24-0. They've run 49 plays at halftime, and Kentucky's run only 26. The total yardage, the rushing yards and passing, there's no contest right now. A couple of turnovers have not helped either.
You know, field position has been just terrible for Kentucky, and it's been outstanding for Tennessee. They started off their first 3 or 4 drives. They were in Kentucky's territory all game.
So those are the numbers on our forward halftime stats. Now, Dave, when you look ahead to a second half like this, what possibly can Bill Curry say to his team in the locker room to try to get something going?
Well, he did 3 or 4 things. He tried his different quarterbacks to try and spark his team. But what he needs to do is try to get a short passing game to keep Tennessee's defense honest. Their defense has been on the field the entire first half. You just cannot rely on your defense being in there that amount of time. So he's got to move the ball. He's got to find some plays that are pretty effective. He's got to get those 5 to 7 yard passes rather than looking for the 15, 18, 20 yard passes. So they've got to get first downs. They've got to move the football to even have a chance to get back in this football game.
Now, how about when you're way ahead like Tennessee is? What's the most important thing for them?
Well, the most important thing there is don't change your game plan until you're into the fourth quarter. They've been doing very, very well up front. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. You don't need to say, hey, we got a big lead, we're going to sit back and rest, because Tennessee has really come out prepared for this game. They've had a great game plan. They need to continue it.
All right, well, Penn State's ahead at halftime, so he's happy. Philip Fulmer's happy. Most everybody here in Knoxville is. Second half coming up. The Vols up by 24. Tennessee leads Kentucky as we get ready for the second half here in Knoxville. And the Volunteers have some things at stake as well. Final home game for 18 seniors. Most feel that after a season, most of the time when the SEC's had only 3 teams in the top 25, Mississippi State is now broken in. They don't play today, so they'll probably stay. Tennessee at 6-4, maybe. At 7-4, surely would become a top 25 team. And of course, there's the bowl picture. There are prospects of the Gator Bowl maybe for this team. Not Kentucky, but for Tennessee, it'll be next year for Bill Curry and company. They've got a lot of rebuilding to do. Of course, the SEC championship game winner goes to...
I think Kentucky's the only team I've seen that when they win that coin toss, they do not defer. Everybody defers to the second half. They wanted the ball to start the game.
Brian Savinsky with the kickoff. Sean Summers at his own 2. No, it's Nilo Sylvan. And he's got some room up the middle. And he'll jitterbug about to the 28-yard line. And that's where the Volunteers will start. They'll give him 27 on the return. Peyton Manning back to work. Just above 50% for 63 yards in the first half. He's throwing at a 61% clip this year. He's thrown for 7 touchdowns, has had 5 picked off, and make it 8 touchdowns with the pass today to Billy Williams.
And Bob, I talked with his dad up in the press box at halftime. Really interesting. He said the hardest decision was to allow Peyton to make his own choice. He said, my name's not real good in Mississippi right now.
There are some other things not good in Mississippi at the moment. Manning out to the wing, and Joey Kent, the sophomore out of Huntsville, Alabama, has it. Joey Kent's going to be a big-time player here. Came in leading the Vols in catches with 32, averaging about 13 yards a catch. A good downfield threat, and he's just a second-year player.
Boy, and you love to see that pass because he has great speed. They throw it out to him quick, let him go one-on-one with that cornerback, and he can make a miss a lot of times.
Manning with a throw to the near side for Nilo Sylvan. They tried to isolate him out there on the corner, and he was able to break a tackle of George Harris before a couple of pursuing teammates caught up. David Snarden was one of them.
That's tough to defend. Now they come back with the running plays.
Yeah, 2nd and 1.
Oh, heck, we'll try it again.
Nilo to the other side. Same guy has got him this time, George Harris. He wasn't about to let him get away again. 2 tight ends, David Horn and Scott Pfeiffer.
Look at them all up in that box.
Stewart. And he looks like he got the shoulder pads, the helmet, and the ball beyond first down yardage into Kentucky territory.
Well, Kentucky gambled that time. They said, hey, you are going to run. And they had 11 guys in what we call the tackle box. That's from tackle to tackle. Every player on Kentucky's team was up in that box.
Good average for little man today. Came in at 5.8. His 85 yards a game is 4th best in the SEC. He's 153 yards away from Johnny Jones. And he ran right into Kevin Mays.
Comes out and sits down.
2nd down and 10. Stewart outside, then upfield. 1st down. Made his cut right at the perfect time. Left corner Stephen Hall had to make the stop. We asked Philip yesterday about trying to get little man Stewart the record. He said, well, you know, we've got to win the ball game. I think he's fairly certain at this point he's going to win the ball game. So Philip's going to give the ball to Stewart quite a bit. Well, he's got 142 yards to go.
Here comes an audible along the line.
And that play was stopped up pretty well by Robert Stinson, 94.
Our mind's up too. He said, I believe you're going to play well. I believe we've even got a chance to win.
2nd and 10. Some play action. Manning up top, left side. Touchdown, Tennessee. And it's Joey Kent again. Great play action by Peyton Manning. Froze the secondary. And Joey Kent was wide open. 38 yards.
You can't throw the ball any better than this. Look at the line protection up front. No time. Look at that. Just the great mechanics. And watch this. He never breaks stride. The safety never came over. He was playing the run-pass action inside, the little run fake. And Manning just delivered a strike right on stride.
Yeah, the old offensive lineman likes plays like that. Nexford strokes another one. And it's 31-0. Tennessee, there's a flag on the play. Joey Kent with his 4th touchdown catch of the year. You know, that was his longest catch of the season right there. His previous long, 31 at Mississippi State, and that one covered 38 yards. Get a good look at that young man. He's going to be creating headaches for opposing defensive coaches for quite a while in this league. And so's that young guy, too. 18 to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Vols have struck quickly. Joey Kent, a 38-yard rocket from Peyton Manning, and it's 31-0 as that Kentucky defense tries to catch its breath. They've been on the field quite a bit today. Earlier, it was the Tennessee run, and now the ball finding the end zone through the air. There was a penalty on the extra point play, and Tom Hutton rifles one out of there. Dave up in the booth with us. A guy who used to be known as Archie Manning, now he's known as Peyton's dad.
He certainly is known as Peyton's dad.
Archie, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Bob. Glad to be with you.
You should have gotten here about 5 seconds ago. Did you see that throw?
I was watching.
Okay.
I was watching.
What you think of the mechanics on that throw?
Well, it got in the end zone. Everything's satisfactory.
Now, you were a scrambling quarterback. You remember those days back with the old hair flowing and all over the place?
I didn't want to be a scrambling quarterback, Dave, but it was necessary at times.
Well, he certainly was. Brandon's got, Peyton's got just tremendous mechanics, doesn't he?
Well, thank you. You know, he works at it. He has worked at it. He enjoys it a great deal. So, you know, we're very proud of him.
Well, a lot of early hype in that with him being the National Player of the Year in high school.
And so, obviously, Olivia and I wanted to support his decision, which we did.
Matt Hobby, the young quarterback of Kentucky, in there. And running off the right side is their fine young halfback, the sophomore Mo Williams.
Well, let me ask you a quick question, Archie. Back when we were playing college football, you didn't have to worry about coming out early. What do you think about Peyton in this situation?
We're certainly not going to talk about that. Peyton and I, we're very close. Obviously, we've had a lot of conversations about different things. We've never even discussed professional football. You know, he was just a couple months ago, he was playing in a small high school there in New Orleans, and now he's out there in this massive place. But that's something I think the college experience is a great experience, and I want him to get the whole experience.
That's wonderful.
2nd down and 7 as Hobby works out of the eye. And some play action. He's got a great arm, but he's not going to get anything away as the Volunteers are all over him. Archie, before we let you go, one more question. Who throws the ball harder, you or your son?
He can throw better than me. And he doesn't throw sidearm either like I did. He looks better doing it right there.
He does. He has great mechanics. He throws way over top. You remember, you were under all that pressure when you had to run. Archie, we really appreciate you coming up here and being a part of our telecast. And we look forward to Peyton being out there for a lot of years and leading a great Tennessee team.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. I enjoyed being with y'all. Y'all do a great job.
Do you still yell, "Go Saints"?
Oh, yeah. Every Sunday. Every Sunday, we're fighting with the Saints.
That's Archie Manning. 3rd and 13. That's the nicest Dave Rowe's been to a quarterback in a long time. And the ball is tipped and intercepted in midfield. It's Craig King with the pick. And Tennessee has the ball back. Tennessee's 8th INT of the year, and they've got 2 of them today.
Well, when you tip that ball at the line of scrimmage and that ball goes up, what you want your defensive backs is to react quickly. You see the trajectory of the ball, the way it's tipped. That slows the ball down. They yell, "Fire, fire," and everybody gets to the ball in a hurry. Again, the ball just kind of gets tipped right there. You see the trajectory is off. Fire, fire, and all those defensive backs are running to the football knowing it's up for grabs.
Volunteers back to work after the big play by King. Brandon Stewart, the quarterback. And he steps up, flushed out to the left side, and he was tripped up initially by Robert Stinson, and then Howard Carter closed on him to finish off the play.
Bob, I really thought that was an interesting comment by Archie about his son, you know, not having put a lot of pressure on him. Obviously, he's got great talent, and he'd make a wish.
2nd down and 8 out of a single back set with Mose Phillips a slot to the left. Aaron Hayden follows his block, and he's down across the 30, very close to another Tennessee 1st down. Next Saturday, we're heading for Nashville to close out our 13 weeks of SEC football. It's the Battle of Tennessee with the Volunteers and the Commodores. Here's will be heading for 7-4 that day. Vanderbilt has a tough home game today, hosting the Gators of Florida.
I was trying to get my Dave Rowe fan club to go to Vanderbilt next week, but they say they're not going. They're going to watch it on TV.
Well, they could take a VW to that game.
Well, there's 4 of them. I mean, hey.
1st down at the 29. Clock runs with less than 8:25 to go, 3rd quarter. Stewart talking to Mose Phillips and Aaron Hayden. Quick drop, quick look, and out to the left side. A quick pass and a quick hit.
Well, you have to respect that speed at wideout. So the cushion that the defensive corner keeps back off him is about 5 to 7 yards. He runs about 4 yards, turns around, bam, the ball's there, and the defense back's got to come up and make a tackle. If you come up too soon, it's the old turn and go long.
Keogh Wilson on the hit, and that reception was Andy McCullough. He's one of those outstanding freshman receivers. He's out of Dayton, Ohio. That was just his 2nd catch of the year. I've got Marcus Nash, Courtney Epps, Maurice Staley, and then this one down inside the 15-yard line. That is Andy McCullough again. So he catches 1 pass all year against the Florida Gators. Now he's got 1 and then a 12-yard reception.
Watch all the people on the line. Nobody in the secondary, just dumps it over his head. Safety's got to come up. Don't miss the tackle. Almost got a face mask on the play.
McCullough goes 6'4", 210. He's also going to play a little hoops. 6'4", 210. That's a pretty good small to power forward combination. And the roll from Stewart, looking to run, cuts it upfield, and he runs into a wall at about the 7-yard line by the name of Mike Schlegel. At 6'2", 210, the quarterback running into a 6'5", 251 left tackle. Tennessee's got some good young receivers. We talked earlier that Joey Kent's only a sophomore. And look at these guys. Those are their high school numbers. Maury Staley out of Charlotte, McCullough out of Dayton, and Nash out of Tulsa.
36 touchdowns between them.
And into the end zone goes Aaron Hayden again. 8 yards on that one, and the Vols are back into the checkered end zone here at Neyland Stadium. His second rushing touchdown of the day and the season.
This is just power football right up the middle. Find that little seam, get to the line, put that head down, and burst into the end zone. And boy, you have to credit that big offensive line. As Bob Kessling said, they set the tone early. They are continuing to set the tone.
Stewart's getting the yardage. Hayden's getting the touchdowns today. And Bexford keeps getting the extra points. He's got 5 of them today, and he's got 150 straight. Total domination by the Vols, 38-zip. Back after a word from your local station. Maytag repairman at the moment. Loneliest guy in town waiting for another Tennessee punt. There's only been one all day long. Hope we see him.
Well, Bill Curry told us that he would be in the second time they punted.
They've only had to do it once. Last 2 Kentucky possessions, interceptions leading to touchdowns. Cats about to get it back with 6:32 remaining, third quarter. And it's Keo Sanford at the goal line, back into the end zone and right back out and right down around the 12-yard line. Corey Gaines on the tackle. There's a flag at the 16-yard line.
Oh, was that flag late?
A painful season for the Wildcats. Some 16 seniors playing for the final time today by so many people. I think has hurt them as much this year as anything, including the 1-9. It's got to be tough when people don't consider you on the right level to be playing where you are. First man through is the fullback, Michael Woodfork. So there's a lot of work to do in Lexington. But I'll say one thing for the Kentucky program, Dave. If you're a coach and you're having problems, and you have C.M. Newton as your athletic director, things could be a lot worse. That is one of the classiest gentlemen in all of college athletics. And so far, C.M. has stood behind his man 100%. And he's to be saluted for that. Some ADs would not make that commitment. Second down and 6.
Remember, in pro football, he was a winner there. He's been a winner wherever he's gone. He can turn this program around. It's going to take a little bit of time, but if they have confidence in him, he teaches the proper things about football, puts it in that proper perspective.
On second down and 11, Raymond McLaurin with the carry. The second carry of the day, and Billy Barron. And there's some rough stuff downfield. Looks like a pair of 57s are dueling. Leland Taylor of Tennessee, Dan Carruthers, the center for Kentucky, got into it downfield.
Now, the fighting rule is one of the big changes in college football this year. You fight in the second half, you're out the second half plus the next game.
Well, Carruthers, obviously a senior. There's nothing ahead for Kentucky. Leland Taylor, just a sophomore for Tennessee, and they've got a game next week at Vanderbilt.
Ejection for each team. By rule, an automatic first down.
So they're both out, Carruthers and Taylor. That was Barry Jones you saw coming in for a little late activity there, and he didn't get whistled for anything. So there goes Leland Taylor, who's the starting right tackle for Tennessee. His backup's a couple of redshirt freshmen, Trey Teague and Bill Duff. And there's Carruthers who leaves, and his backup is DeAnthony Honaker for Kentucky.
And think of that rule now. Taylor, if I understand that rule correctly, Taylor will not be able to play in next week's game.
At Vandy.
Well, the first half, I should say, he will not be able to play.
Third down and 7. Now, we just heard automatic first down from the official, so it's first down with the ball at about the 9.
Oh, and finally the crowd gets a little bit into it.
Hobby with an option right to the short side of the field. There's just nowhere to go over there. And the primary reason is number 7, Jason Taylor, with his 7th tackle today for Northwestern at the half. And the Commodores are hanging tough early against the Gators. 2nd down and 8. Trying to feel his way through there and get him some decent yardage is Donnell Gordon. Third down and 2.
Quarterback has to go over and tell the tight end, no, you're on the other side.
Chris Davis over to the right side.
Look at Tennessee creep up there.
Oh, what a hit. Craig King, the first man there. Michael Woodford looked up, and all he saw was 2 big number 4s coming at him.
Boy, right in his nose. Bam! You talk about a smash mouth football. That smash mouth. They creeped up a little bit. They got in the box. Watch when he gets this football. Bam! That's head-to-head contact.
Wow. Craig King, a sophomore out of that gorgeous town, Asheville, North Carolina, up there in the mountains. That was a majestic hit. Here's Nicky Nichols. Strokes this one well. Back to the 40-yard line. Sean Summers. Room to the near side. Tiptoeing his way. And he went out of bounds back at the 39.
And Bob, on that play, they tried to reverse, and it really faked out the coverage team. They bid on the reverse. They saw the action. You'll see when he catches the football. Look at the reverse action right there. You see people running right towards the fake.
44 on the kick, 18 on the return. 3:37 to go, third quarter. 38-0. Nothing. They've run it well, they've passed it well, and they're throwing a shutout. And Bill Curry just looking for some way to motivate his troops. First down at the 39 after the good punt return. Brandon Stewart at the controls. James Littleman Stewart trying to get outside. Rob Manchester had a shot at him, and he kept on going. And with one of the great gentlemen in all of athletics, here's Bob Kessler.
You got that right, Bob. A great gentleman. Sam Newton, your football team has had one of the most terrific or terrible seasons in history. Can you talk about the future of this Kentucky program?
Well, you know, this year has been one of those crazy years that you just hope you never have. I've got a lot of confidence in our coaches and our young athletes, and I think we'll get the thing straightened out. We're certainly going to hang in there with them and give them the support they need to do it.
You've been a coach, so you know the ups and downs of this. Is it a situation where you can kind of empathize a little bit with Coach Curry?
Oh, I can empathize totally with our coaches and players. I've been through it. There's nothing more difficult than to build a program.
And, you know, we thought we had the thing just about turned after last year. For whatever reasons, we've taken some real steps back this year. But I'm still satisfied that we got the right combination of people in place to make it happen.
I guess that is also a vote of confidence for Coach Curry is what he needs now to make sure the recruiting process continues.
Well, you know, I'm not so sure it's a vote of confidence as much as it is just doing what is
Really what you think you have to do for this program. We could put a Band-Aid on it and make a change, but I don't see where that would make any difference. I think that the thing we've got to do is
hang tough, and we're a lot closer than I think a lot of people think we are, and hopefully we'll make that turn back next year.
Sam, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Bob.
Sam Newton, the athletics director at the University of Kentucky.
Former basketball coach at Vanderbilt. His career ended very unfairly. In the NCAA tournament one year, he had to play Notre Dame on St. Patrick's Day. That is not fair. Second down and 1. Stewart. And inside the 5-yard line, Brandon to James, the Stewart connection. And it'll be first and goal for the Volunteers.
And you know, Bob, we've been talking about Melvin Johnson, number 25, 118 tackles. Center fielder, look at this, come up, force it back inside, and he's a sure tackler, holds on. Well, he has played well at that, we call that the free safety position, where he's just free to roam along. He plays both pass coverage and comes up on run support. He's been a real plus for Kentucky.
David Cutcliffe says he reads and he goes, and he does them very quickly. First and goal at the 4. And looking for the score is little man Stewart, wrapped up near the line of scrimmage after a gain of a couple by Robert Stinson, the right tackle, playing his final game today, and he's got 5 tackles up front. Well, he went for 211 against Georgia, and he's over 100. James Stewart on that Doak Walker list, top senior running back in the country. This tailback combination, Stewart and Hayden, 1,485 yards, an average of 6 a carry coming in. 2nd and 1. Stewart, yes, into the end zone. And James has his 10th rushing touchdown of the season.
That's the way you want your running backs to run the football. Knowing how far they have to get for that touchdown and just kind of knifing through. Didn't try to use that strength to go through there. Just saw a little bit of a slice to the inside. Just made that little adjustment, and into the end zone he went.
And John Bexford out for another point after as Stewart continues his fine afternoon.
Now, what did you say about Bexford? Doesn't have a chance? He's sure making up for it today.
Well, this would be his 6th extra point of the day.
He needed 157.
Yeah, he's now at 151. Carlos Huerta of Miami, the all-time record. And it's 45-0.
Again, you want your running back to find that little seam. Now watch the little adjustment right there, the little slide through, turn those shoulders, and break the plane of the end zone.
Last year in Lexington, Tennessee beat Kentucky 48-0. It was Kentucky's worst loss in 70 years. This year they had a worse one when they lost at Florida 73-7, and the Volunteers are putting another one on them today. 1:20 to go, 3rd quarter. You know, the SEC has a great weekend coming up surrounding the SEC championship game, and it'll Charlie Connerly of Ole Miss, a great player representing every program in the SEC, will be there for you to listen to and maybe even visit with. Hope you enjoy the weekend if you can get to Atlanta.
Boy, they were some great players. As you named those names, I was thinking along Leroy Jordan, too small to play. Couldn't play, right? How many years did he play? Played 10 years, 12 years with Dallas. You named Jimmy Taylor. Boy, who'll ever forget Jimmy Taylor with the Green Bay Packers. The great Horning-Taylor backfield combination.
There's Billy Jack Haskins out of Paducah, the Kentucky quarterback, 4th stringer. Hey, you can go to that weekend and have a chance to tackle George Rogers from South Carolina.
Oh, boy.
Nobody else could.
He's got a road named for him down there, right next to the stadium.
It ought to be an expressway. And the carry for Mo Williams, nothing doing there. What a weekend that'll be in Atlanta. Hope you folks who are headed for the SEC championship game.
Doug Atkins. That's the greatest defensive end to ever play football. But Bob Johnson's awfully good at center.
Play action by Haskins. Out to the right side, off the hands of Chris Davis, the tight end.
Guess who they picked from Arkansas? Should have been. Should have been. You can't hit a receiver. And look at him. He's just a freshman out there. He's saying, hey, give me a shot here. Nice drop as he gets back in the pocket. Now watch this. Right across the middle. You've got to look the ball in. Don't couch it against your body. Comes right in, bounces right down. You can't hit him any better than that.
30 seconds to go before the 4th quarter. Nicky Nichols will punt again. He's up over 60 punts on the year. Nilo Sylvan at the 34. He's by the first wave, and he'll get about 12 on the return. 38-yard kick. David Snarden with the tackle, and the Volunteers back to work with 18 seconds to go. 3rd quarter in a 45-0 blowout here in Knoxville.
Well, you know, there's one quarterback they haven't tried for Tennessee. Young man that we saw real early in the season got hurt.
Todd Helton.
Todd Helton.
Yeah, he's back and healthy now for the first time since that Mississippi State game. Peyton Manning is the man they call on here.
Of course, Helton's career is going to be in baseball, I believe.
Yeah, they think he'll be a top 5 draft pick when the baseball teams make their amateur draft next year. Look at Stewart. Boy, Kentucky territory done around the 45, a gain of about 9. That'll be the last play, by the way, of the 3rd quarter.
I was going to say, did you see him freeze the cornerback Wilson when he came up there, Jimmy? That little stutter step, stepped right around him, and off he went.
That's it for the 3rd quarter in Knoxville. Little man Stewart coming up big today. 45-0 Vols. Welcome back to our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week. Bob Carpenter, Dave Rowe, Bob Kessling on our SEC stations and on Prime Network around the country. 15 minutes to go. Tennessee 2nd and 1 at the 45. Straight ahead. Little man Stewart. Let's check our Lee Aparo game summary. After 3 quarters, the total yards, a 302-yard difference before that last play.
That's incredible to have 88 yards at the end of the 3rd quarter. That's just no offense. That's just put such a burden on your defense. They've been out there the entire game.
We told you at the start of today, Kentucky was giving up 266 yards a game on the ground. Almost that much already today. And Stewart a breather. Flag carry for his buddy with a flag on the play. Aaron Hayden. Aaron Shawtez Hayden, the senior out of Mumford High School in Detroit. Those two are best friends, James and Aaron. They've been through a lot together here. Both will finish at least in the top 7 all-time in Tennessee rushing. It's a game their last 5 games. Since the move was made to get Tyrone in there and move Ben Talley to a down position. First down at the 19. Quick opener. And it's Chester Ford who backs up Mose Phillips at fullback with the carry. First time we've seen him all year. That was his first carry of the season. He's a 5'11" sophomore who goes 250 out of Danville, Kentucky. Former USA Today Player of the Year there. Great blocker. In a 45-0 game, he finally gets to carry the football.
Aren't you glad they realigned those numbers a little bit so you can see them? They're so much clearer now than they were.
Well, that's because the sun's not shining on the field at the moment. 2nd down at 6. Manning looking to Hayden. Breaks a couple of tackles. And then up to get him was George Harris from strong safety.
They've just been all over the place.
James Stewart after Johnny Jones within 100 yards now. Aaron Hayden moves up to the number 6 spot today. Came in with 19-11, so he's got 74 yards today.
I think he was just up there talking to Coach saying, hey, Coach, listen, I got a good chance to get a few more yards here, move up a little bit. How about getting me in there?
Well, Hayden in there. Howard Carter, excuse me, that was Jay Graham on that carry. David Snarden there with Carter on the stop. Jay Graham, a sophomore of Kannapolis, North Carolina. And George Harris and his buddies have been busy in that secondary making tackles again.
Well, there's been so many tackles made by defensive backs today, and that's not what you want.
22 of them.
Yeah, 22 tackles by the defensive backs.
On 4th and 2. Manning. And the quick opener for the fullback, Chester Ford, his 2nd carry of the year. It's a 1st and goal. Look at that. They're after him, boy. 51 Brent Gibson says, yeah, let's get the 2nd teamers getting it done.
This is power football. Control the line of scrimmage. You see a little seam. Keep those legs going, turning, twisting, picking up that 1st down yardage. Now, some people would think that Phil Fulmer's trying to run up the score, but he certainly is not. In this situation, running the football, keeping it on the ground.
All they're doing is running up the field. Yeah. Little delay. Graham, nice move. 3rd consecutive tackle by George Harris, who has 9 on the day. And the Vols are very close to the goal line.
Boy, that was a stick by Harris, too. Wow, did he come up.
Beleaguered secondary. We told you they lost 3 starters from
defensive back with a neck brace. George neck brace on. That's how many tackles he's made back there.
From the 1, Graham. And he angles in for the touchdown. Jay Graham has his first rushing touchdown of the year. Aaron Hayden got a couple, and it's Graham in from 1 yard out here 4 minutes into the 4th quarter.
Again, you don't get penetration, you're not going to stop them from getting in the end zone. They don't get penetration. He runs into the end zone almost standing straight up. There's George Harris, number 8. You see the neck brace on the back of his neck. He's coming from the outside. He's a real go-getter, but he just didn't get there in time.
And here comes a 7th extra point attempt for John Bexford. That's 152 in a row. And with 11:10 remaining in the football game, it's Tennessee 52 and Kentucky nothing. 52-0 Volunteers. Philip Fulmer still talking to his crew on the far sideline, and they're near a 6-4 record now. Very decisive verdict here at home today. D.O. Sanford at his own 8 for Kentucky. Got away from one man on special teams, still on his feet, out to the 27-yard line, and they never did knock him down. Well, they say they remember what you do in November. Look at the Vols. The only loss 4 years ago to Notre Dame, ranked number 1 at the time, a 5-point loss. Total domination in the month of November.
I guess you would call that nasty in November.
And usually when they look in their Christmas stocking, there's a bowl game in there somewhere because of those Novembers. Haskins, the quarterback again for Kentucky. Donnell Gordon on the carry. And a guy who had a very short season for the Volunteers, senior quarterback Jerry Colquitt with Bob Kessler.
Yeah, 7 plays for Jerry. They got hurt in the UCLA game, but you got to run through the T. But you might not be done here at Tennessee, right?
That's right. I might be the first player in Tennessee history to run through the T twice. But, you know, if I get this next year, I'll be real happy that I get it. And if not, then I'll try to go on into the NFL.
You're going to apply for medical redshirt. Where does that stand right now? Have you applied yet?
Yes, we already applied, but we won't get a reply from the NCAA until about mid-December.
So in the situation now, you still want to play at Tennessee, but if that's turned down, you're willing to go ahead and try the NFL now.
That's right. You know, I've been making preparations. If I don't get this appeal, and I think if I don't get it, then things will turn out right just anyway.
Jerry, I know a lot of Tennessee fans are very appreciative of what you've done for the program, and wherever you go, we hope you're the best.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Jerry Colquitt, Tennessee's excellent senior quarterback.
Had to wait a long time to get his chance because of a guy named Schuler. Ran the ball once, threw it 4 times, and the season came to an end at UCLA. Up the middle, looking for the tight end, Chris Davis.
Well, you know, Bob, that's not an oddity in the NCAA to give that 6th year for the competition. It's happened before, so he has a good shot at it. He had sat behind Schuler for a number of years and said, this is my big chance, and as you said, only got to run, what, 7 plays. So it's something that has happened before. They have granted that, and it certainly would be nice. But then what do you do with that fellow named Manning and, of course, that other fellow named Stewart?
I think you keep throwing them out there. 2nd and 10. And the carry from Donnell Gordon. Not much there. Let's check in on our Nationwide Insurance SEC Scholar Athlete.
What is he, 33-1-1? Is that his record as a starter?
33 out of 35.
That's incredible.
Haskins with a little swing out to the left side. Donnell Gordon. Not much to work with. And the Cats will kick again. And some SEC All-American honors have rolled in this week. Eric Zier, of course, the Georgia quarterback, who's had a great year. Jack Johnson. Congratulations to those fine young men of the SEC. Pretty good kick by Nichols. Sean Summers with a fair catch at the Vol 15. They won't know how to act starting a possession way back there. 42 yards on the kick. 8:30 remaining in a 52-0 game. Lance Wheaton's first snap ever as the Tennessee quarterback. And he gave it off to Jay Graham for a big gainer there. Lance Wheaton, number 15, a senior out of Kingston, Tennessee. He's been the scout team quarterback for 3 years, and he just got to snap it between the lines for real for the first time ever.
What a thrill. A senior. Get that opportunity. That's wonderful.
Come on, let's see him throw it here.
That's right. Give him one shot.
8:05 remaining. 52-0 Tennessee. And he will turn and give it to Graham again. He breaks a tackle or 2. And they'll be left with 3rd and about 3 or 4. Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouses invite you to come by and register for a trip for 2 to the Outback Steakhouse Gator Bowl. The Vols could be there. Airfare, accommodations, tickets, all provided by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Second down and 5. Graham got tripped by one of his offensive linemen, Brad Lampley, who was laying on the turf after being blocked down. Lampley, the third stringer at right guard.
You know how you can never catch our truck in a mistake? They have already updated Lance Wheaton and said that he was the big factor in the orange and white game in the spring.
Great to see him get a chance to play. 7 minutes remaining in the season of Kentucky. Tennessee plays at Vanderbilt next week. It's our Lee Apparel SEC game of the week at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Graham twisting and turning, and he was bumped to the turf by Roger Sullivan, who's closing out his career out of McKeesport, PA.
Hey, you know what a second punt means?
Hopefully, we'll see Harold Dennis of Kentucky.
There he
goes. Bill Curry talking about this courageous young man out of Radcliffe, Kentucky, Harold Dennis.
Well, he's incredible. He's a great man way before his years, beyond his years and before his time, before he should have had to be a great inspirational leader. He has made himself into that.
And the kick will fall at the 27 and come back a couple of yards. And Harold Dennis, just moments after Lance Wheaton stepped on the field for the first time, he gets to do the same. Now he's got another little story to add when he goes out and speaks to kids and to youth groups about some of the decisions to make in life and some of the things he's been through. Great story.
And how do you like that? He's already talked to a coach saying, now look, I had the angle on that. I could have blocked that.
You should have put me on the outside.
That's right. That's marvelous.
First down with 5:58 remaining, and Haskins still the quarterback. Mo Williams hasn't had much today. Carried the ball well a couple of times on the first possession. Harold still pumped. Just can't stand still down there.
Well, that was an incredible story. School bus hit by a drunk driver going the wrong way on a freeway, and of course the bus caught on fire, and just an incredible story. But what a true winner in a lot of respects. They said he goes out time and time again to talk to young people.
Second down and 7. 4 wide receivers. Billy Jack. And he's got the underneath man, Mo Williams. 12th reception of the year for the sophomore halfback out of Columbus, Georgia. And let's check in with Bob Kessling.
Yeah, you've been watching the game today. You've seen that Kentucky also has a T on its helmet. It's a black T in honor of 3 former Wildcat athletes. Ted Presley, a football player, Trent DeGiro, and a baseball player, Troy Trumbo. All 3 have died since May of 1993. And I guess it kind of sums up what has been such a devastatingly disappointing season for this Kentucky program, but they honor 3 of their former Wildcat teammates by the T on the back of the helmets.
And that went out to the right side. Trevor Hippolyte, a true freshman out of Rockledge, Florida, with the reception. Yeah, Bob, and to tag that story, we've mentioned it earlier today, some outstanding men at the control, though, of the Kentucky football program, Bill Curry and C.M. Newton. They can get it back. We'll see how long it takes. A program that was in a bowl game a year ago, about to go 1-10. With those 10 losses coming in a row. And they were on a high back on September 3rd. They won the Governor's Cup when they beat Louisville 2014. And getting loose and shaken down to the 35-yard line. Maybe seeing Harold Dennis on the field did something to them. 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. And a quick give to Raymond McLaurin, the sophomore wingback. In the East, Tennessee really had no chance to catch Florida. The Gators, of course, clinched last week when we were down there for their victory over South Carolina. Carolina handling Clemson pretty well today, so it appears they'll go 6-5 and find a bowl. And there's the situation in the West as Bama and Auburn get together today.
Hasn't Mississippi State been a real surprise this year?
Well, they could have beaten Bama last week, too. But a guy named Barker got in the way. Out to the left side, it's Trevor Hippolyte.
Needed early in this football game to get uncranked, get their offense in gear so they didn't put so much pressure on their defense.
He's 4 for 8 throwing the football. First down at the 21 of Tennessee, and lifting up way too early, Mark Askin.
I think so.
First and 15 with 3:04 remaining. Out of the gun. Askin's waiting. Ball was tipped and then off the hands of the intended receiver, number 33, Jevrin Farah, a junior split end. Seeing some rare playing time here toward the end of the season. And defending on the play was Heath Smargesso.
A lot of players get a lot of chance to play today, and that's really great.
4 wide receivers on 2nd and 15 from the Tennessee 26.
Hey, where'd our crowd go? This place was jammed a few minutes ago. It's just you and me here and a few other friends.
Haskins out to the right side, and the ball caught by Ray McLaurin, the wingback. He'll get out of bounds down around the 21-yard line with 2:51 remaining. 3rd down and 5. Haskins with a quick drop. Can he escape? Gets it away. It's in the area of Raymond McLaurin. He was in the grasp, his jersey was, of Bill Duff. Duff is the 3rd string right tackle behind Leland Taylor, who's been ejected, and another redshirt freshman like Duff is, Trey Teague. Oh, a 4th down play coming up with 2:43 remaining.
Well, I bet you old Billy Jack was sitting there saying, I'm not going to get in today. I'm just going to sit here, wait for my little turn next year. Maybe I'll get a chance in spring. And all of a sudden, Bill Curry said, hey, get in there, take a few snaps and see what you can do in game action.
Hey, those guys out of Paducah, they want to play. Great program there at Tillman High School. Out of the gun, 4th and 5. And it's picked off at the line of scrimmage. Billy Barron. Down to the 40. There are flags all over the place. And the Tennessee bench is mobbing their redshirt freshman, Billy Barron.
Hey, that was pretty good speed there. Look at him. He's exhausted. He can't get up off the ground. Oh, boy.
They love his potential. He's out of River Ridge, Louisiana, Rummel High School. They think he's going to be a big-time player here.
Well, we could have had him in the Oxford Challenge.
On the run back, blocking below the waist, on the receiving team, 1st down.
Well, he doesn't care. He got the pick.
What a thrill. Catch that football and take off running. Look at him. Look how tired he is. He's doing some deep breathing.
6'3", 271. He was a high school All-American in River Ridge, Louisiana.
And he's saying, Coach, if I had gotten to the outside, I was gone.
2:31 remaining. Lance Wheaton with another series. And the give is to Ronnie Pillow, the freshman running back out of Columbia, Tennessee. Volunteers will go to 6-4. They'll go 4-3 in SEC play with a date at Vandy across the state. Next Saturday, we'll be there to bring it to you on Thanksgiving weekend.
How close did James Stewart get? Maybe we can get a little update on that, see how many yards Stewart got. 143 yards, I believe he got today.
There's Pillow again. And he needed 227, so he'll need about an 80-85 yard day next week to become the all-time leading Tennessee rusher. Charlie Garner was only here for 2 years, and he got into the top 4 with 2,089 yards. First down at the 32 with 1:30 remaining. And the give off the right side for Neil Kearney, number 35, a senior, getting a little playing time here out of Kingport.
Now what they ought to do is take the names of all the people who have stayed for the game. When you get a score like this, 52-0, you take the names of all the people who have stayed and you say, now they are real volunteers. They're people that stick it out.
Hey, there's some folks still hanging around with blue on too from Lexington.
I know, that's true. Look over there.
Second down and 9. in the last minute. Pillow. And wrapping him up was Lamont Smith, who's the third-string guy at the Buck linebacker spot. And Philip Fulmer, I asked him yesterday what he took out of this season with the slow start when they were 1-3. He said, we know now that we can fight back, and we'll have a lot of experience on this team for 95 based on that slow start and the way we battled back, and now they could be headed for 7-4.
Well, it's so hard when you lose a quarterback to regroup. And they did. They regrouped quickly.
And Billy Williams was hurt in that game. Ronnie Pillow tackled from behind by Reggie Rusk. He almost broke it at midfield. A 14-yard play. And that'll just about do it. There are 14 seconds left on the clock. The officials will restart it, and maybe one more play. Looks like the Vols are just going to stand around, take off the helmets, and that will be it. 52-0 Tennessee. And the beer barrel will stay in Knoxville for another year. And toting it around is Kevin Mays, the senior, the only senior on that offensive line. We're back to Knoxville in a moment. Tennessee decisively and then some over Kentucky. James Littleman Stewart, 143 yards on the ground for the Volunteers. He's one of our players of the game today. And how about this one? Harold Dennis of Kentucky plays for the first time ever, and he's one of our Burger King players of the game. As part of our Players of the Game Award Scholarship Program, Jefferson Pilot Sports will donate $2,000 to the Southeastern Conference to be distributed among its member institutions. Tennessee, 52-0. And a fond farewell to Harold Dennis. Maybe we'll see you down the road next year. We're back in a minute. And they came in averaging 380 yards a game total offense. Today they go for 471. We're back with more after a word from your local SEC station. And Commodores of Vanderbilt at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central next week on our Lee Apparel SEC Game of the Week. And Dave Rowe, they looked awfully tough today.
Oh, they ran the ball well. They passed the ball well. A lot of players got a lot of playing time, and they're going to really roll into this last game.
Jefferson Pilot Sports production staff outfitted by Lee Apparel, the brand that fits. You've been watching Jefferson Pilot Sports exclusive coverage of SEC football. For Bob Kessling and Dave Rowe, Bob Carpenter, so long from Knoxville.